What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream from Scalar Learning, and today we are tackling ISEE Middle Level Math. We're doing ISEE PracticeTest.com Test 4. That's from Test Innovators. An incredible resource, one that I use with pretty much all of my ISEE clients that are prepping for the Middle Level ISEE, trying to get into 7th or 8th grade in some of these really elite private schools in Los Angeles. This resource is incredible, and we are going to tackle Test 4 Math Achievement section. So again, there's two math sections. There's quantitative reasoning, and then there's math achievements. So let's get into that right now. Again, if you're new to these live streams, I'm taking it live, so you're seeing it in real-time settings. So you're understanding that, hey, the way that I'm showing you how to do it actually works in a real-time setting. In fact, I can actually go faster, right? I'm actually taking the time to explain these problems in real time. But that's part of the whole process, and that's the idea. I want to see that you can do this for real, that I'm not just giving you some drawn-out explanation that's impossible to implement. And last but not least, I'm getting my SAT scores tomorrow, I believe, so make sure to check back in for the live SAT score reveal. All right, we're going to take this online. And we've got 47 questions in 40 minutes. So again, right there, a little under a minute per question. We're going to start, no calculator. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, begin. Here we go. The perimeter of a square is 32. What is its area? Okay, if the perimeter is 32, it means all the sides are 8, right? Because 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32. 8 times 8 is the area, which is 64. Next. We've got these guys. We're showing a pattern. Now look what's happening. It's growing by 1, and then it's growing by another. Then it's growing by 1 down here. Then it goes another. Then the next one's going to have a square right there, right? Doesn't that make sense? So it should look like this. Okay, that's just some pattern recognition. What is the most reasonable unit when using to measure the length of a desk? These are measures of weight. They make no sense. This is a nice length, but it says meters squared would almost work, except for that's area, and it says the length of a desk, so we're talking about feet. Next, if Alex can prepare 2/3 of a recipe in 30 minutes, watch how I'm going to set this up. 2/3 of a recipe in, you know what, there's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm going to actually use a bar model. Instead, I was going to use a ratio, but we can use a bar model. So if we split it up into thirds, right, here's 2/3, and that takes 30 minutes. Well, that means that each of these slots, it takes 15 minutes to do 1/3, 1/3. To finish the remaining third is an equal slot. That's also going to take 15 minutes. So the whole thing is going to be 45 minutes. Next. Triangles A, B, C, and D, E, F are similar. What is the length of DF? Okay, here we're going to make a proportion. Similar triangles have proportionate sides. And you notice that DE, see the order that it goes A, B, C, D, E, F? That means AB is proportionate to DE, BC is proportionate to EF, so on and so forth. So I can set up a nice proportion if we're trying to find DF. I can say DE, which is 8, so I'm doing big triangle, big leg, over little triangle, big leg to 4. 8 to 4 is proportionate. And that should be the same proportion as big triangle hypotenuse, which is our x, our unknown, to the hypotenuse of the little triangle, which is 5. And we got our proportion, and now we can cross multiply. But before we do that, let's simplify. 8 over 4 becomes 2 over 1. Boom, boom. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times x is x. There's our answer, 10. Next. What is 1/2 the sum of those two guys? Okay, if we had a calculator, this would be great, but we don't. So we gotta go ahead and set this up and just add these guys like so, and then take half, meaning divide by 2. Make sure on these problems you copy the numbers down carefully, in which we did. 13, carry the 1, 14, carry the 1, 10, and divide it by 2, but we can do that mentally. That's 5,215. If you're unsure, just set it up and divide by 2 like so. Okay, look at this, a nice proportion. We just solved a proportion. The way we do it is with our friend cross multiplication. But first, I'm going to simplify if possible. 5 and 15 can both be divided by 5. This becomes 1/3. Then cross multiply, much easier. 1 times 36 equals 36. 3 times r equals 3r. Then to isolate r, we do the opposite of multiplication because the 3 is multiplying the r. Divide both sides by 3, and r equals 12. Next. Okay, a lawyer charges a fee of $300 to be hired by a client and $125 for each hour he works for the client. Which equation can be used to find the cost? Okay, look, check it out. The cost is, it's a flat rate of 300. Then it's 125 per every hour. And these two are added together. And that makes sense because we say, hey, 300 up front. And then if it's 2 hours, that's 2 times 125. That's 250 plus 300. So this equation looks pretty good. And they use T instead of H. I use H for hours. They use T for time probably. And it's this guy. Same deal. Plus, we're good to go. Just make sure I didn't read that wrong. Okay, next. What's the value of this? All right. Little bit of arithmetic. So let's go ahead and do this. First, let's do that subtraction problem going from left to right. Notice how I put a 0 here to just make things more balanced. Next, so we're going to 0 minus 1. Can't do that. 6, 10, 9, 3, 3. And then we're going to add that to 1.28. 9 plus 8 is 17. 6 and 4. 4.67. Next. The height of a city below sea level and the height of a mountain above sea level are shown. Approximately, what is the difference between the mountain height and the city height? Here's the mountain height. What is that value? It looks like it's right between 6 and 800, so I'm going to say 700. Difference means it's a subtraction problem. And what is the difference between and the city height? Here's the city height. But look at this. It's past 0. It's in the negatives. It looks like between 0 and negative 200, so I'm going to say negative 100. So here's the deal. I said different, so it's minus negative 100. When we see minus a negative, I'm not going to set it up, stack them, set up like this. Minus a negative, the two negatives cross out. Two wrongs do make a right in math, is what I sometimes say. 700 plus 100 is 800, and there you go. Next. The graph shows the relationship between the hours an employee works and the hours total worked. Okay, according to the scatter plot, how much would a person who works 8 hours earn? Okay, 8 hours. Okay, oh, we have to do here. This is like where we're doing a line of best fit, essentially. Okay, because we're estimating. The thing is here, don't get thrown when you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's no data at the point of 8 hours, right? That's where it might be confused. Oh, it's not working. Okay, that's where you might get confused, but you like have to draw an imaginary line, boom, 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 like this across. And I'm guessing it's going to be right around here is where would it be? Where it would be according to the rest of the data. So I'd say $85. That's my guess. 92 would be close, but it'd be a little high. It feels like a little off, right? 85 looks like right in the center of that imaginary line of best fit. Next, 12. What is the least common multiple of 6, 12, 16? Okay, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can look at the answer choices and start at the smallest first. So is 48 a common multiple of all of these? Actually, it is. 8 times 6 is 48. 4 times 12 is 48. 3 times 16 is 48. Then it's the smallest one of the list, so we know there's no question that that's it and done. All right, next. A stack of 8 cards, number 1 through 8. A card is selected, not replaced, and a second card is selected. We've got 2 selections that are happening. Which answer choice is an impossible event? Okay, let's see this. The first card is a 5. The second card is a 5. That is impossible. I already know. I'm not going to look at the other ones. Here's why. This is the key. It says it's not replaced, okay? Why is that important? Because, well, if I've selected a 5 on the first go, right? I have 1 through 4 and 6 through 8 left. 5 is gone. I can't select 5 again. So that is impossible. The rest of these, I'm sure, are not. Yeah, see? None of these are repeating the same number, so that's impossible. Number 14. That's called dependent events, by the way, where the first event affects the second event. Alana has a test average of 86 after taking 6 tests. 86. Sorry, I'm going to set up so she has a mean of 86. We don't know what her total is after taking 6 tests. We can calculate this by multiplying both sides by 6. 480 plus 36 is 516. So the total, all 6 tests added up is 516. I'm immediately going there. Then her lowest test score is actually we didn't need to do that. Her lowest test score is a 77. Cool. And the range of her test scores is 19, meaning the difference between the lowest and the highest is 19. What is her highest test score? I just said, right? Range tells me if I add the range to the lowest test score, I get the highest test score, which is 96, right? 77 plus 19 is 96. That's it. These don't make sense, of course. It's got to be 96. Next. Okay, we got a little order of operations. Here we go. 40 times 22 plus 68 over, over 3.5 plus 1.5. This was this on the bottom is 5. We can kind of do, these are almost like as if they're in parentheses. I can do this and this separately. 22 plus 68 is 80, 90. Okay, so we got 40 times 90. Now, you could multiply these and then divide by 5. That's fine if you want, but I'm going to do a simpler thing. I'm going to take one of these numbers, not both, one of these numbers when they're all multiplied and divide it by the 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And now the denominator is essentially nullified, and I can just do 8 times 90. Fast way to do that, what's 8 times 9? 72. 8 times 90 then is 720. You add a 0, and there we go. Notice on time, all right, 10 minutes have elapsed, so we're doing okay. Mr. Holloway asked his class to estimate the best expression. Okay, what is the best estimate? So the way that I'm thinking about this is it's like 70 times 80, which is 5,600 divided by 400. The 0, because I'm pretending like 7 times 8 is 56. 70 times 80 is 5,600 divided by 400. The zeros cancel out. It's like 56 divided by 4, which is actually 14. You can set it up as long division like this, right? And calculate that out. 14 is my best estimate. See the mental math. If you're fast with it, it comes in handy, right? Jordan and Leah recorded the cumulative amount they made each day, blah, blah, blah. So the cumulative amounts they made each day. So it's like they didn't make 164. This is by day 4. They've total made 164. That's what cumulative means. It's all adding up. On days 3 and 4, how much money did Leah make from each day of babysitting? So on day 3, we have to know how much she made specifically here, we have to subtract 125 minus whatever she made on day 2. Okay, 9 and 3. So she made $39. I'm not even going to worry about day 4 because it's only one value, and we assume she made the same on both, and it looks like she did, so there we go. Next. Simplification. Here we go. 3. Okay, here's the deal. When we're looking at variables, even though there's 2 variables here, since they all have the same 2 variables, these are all considered to be like terms. So I can add the coefficients or the numbers of all these. And 3 plus 3 plus 9 is 15ab over 3ab. Now I've got ab over ab. Those can cancel out. And then 15, it's like we're just reduced down to 15 over 3, which is 5. What is the greatest common factor of 24, 40, and 6? Okay, again, we can look at the answers. To be honest, this is like not a bad way to do this. And go from the big, because we're looking for the greatest one, go from the biggest down. 8 doesn't work because 8 doesn't go into 60. 6 doesn't work because it doesn't go into 40. 4 works because 4 times 15 is 60. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times 6 is 24. Done. Scott conducted a survey to find out how many of his friends preferred sunny days, rainy days, or snowy days. Which data corresponds to the sample of friends? Okay, so let me write this down. Rainy is 15%, sunny is 25%. Oh, that's snowy, and then sunny is 60%. Okay, which one of these works? So I'm going to do one at a time. So look. First, I need to know the total of all these, 24, 30, 40. So this is a total of 40. And they're saying 10 out of 40 is snowy, and that's right. 24 out of 40. Is that 60%? Hold on. Yes, it is. And 6 rainy out of 40 equals what percent out of 100? 40x equals 600. And then it's 600 divided by 40, which is like 60 divided by 4. It is 15. All right, actually, it's this one. That's what we're doing, though. We're just making sure that these percentages match up with whatever's here. It's like another way we could have done it is I could say, okay, this is 40 days. So 0.15 times 40 is 6, and that's rainy. That makes sense. 0.25, the decimal equivalent of 25% times 40 is 10. Yes, snowy is 10. And then 0.6 times 40 is 24. It works. Okay, next. The graph shows the amount of charge left in 4 different batteries. What battery lost the least amount of charge over the 6-hour period? Least amount of charge. This guy. See? Because it has the lowest like decline. So it's battery 1. Assume battery 1. Done. What is the quotient? When we're dividing fractions, first turn them both into improper. So 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13 over 6. Then keep, change, flip. We keep this, change this to multiplication, flip that to 6 over 13. Cross simplify if possible. These are both divisible by 2, so 3 and 2. Then 21 times 3 is 63. 2 times 13 is 26. And then we can simplify. 26 goes into 63 twice. We're turning into a mixed number. So 2, that's 52. And then 11 remaining, right? So 26 times 2 is 52. There's 11 left in 63. So 11 out of that remaining 26. So 2 and 11, 26. Is not a prime number. Okay, this one I already know is 57 because 57 is divisible by 3. The 3 rules are you add these digits, 5 and 7, you get 12, and 12 is divisible by 3, therefore 57 is divisible by 3. I remember seeing that question before. Okay, next, n plus 3 equals 6n over 3. What is the value of n? Okay, let's isolate. First thing I'm going to do is look, 6 over 3. That can be reduced to 2 over 1 or just 2. So now we got a nicer setup. N plus 3 equals 2n. Now let's get the variables together. So I'm going to subtract n from both sides. 3 equals 2n minus n, which is n. N equals 3. Done. Okay, this is actually a famous equation. F equals 2 blah blah blah, but it doesn't even matter. We're just plugging and chugging, okay, substituting these values in for v and e. So check this out. F equals 2 minus 12 plus 30. See how I replaced v with 12 and I replaced e with 30? A formula is your friend. You see a formula, you know exactly what goes where. You don't have to think about anything. Then let's just do order of operations left to right. 2 minus 12 is negative 10 plus 30. Negative 10 plus 30, that's like 30 minus 10, which is 20. 26. These two triangles are similar. What is the ratio of the length of a side of triangle JKL? JKL. Okay, and then we got to watch they rotate this. Watch the order. I told you, right? JK, since they're giving it JKL to RST, that means JK, which is 10, is proportionate to RS, which is 5. So it's a ratio of 10 to 5, and we can reduce a fraction 10 to 5 by dividing both by 5, just like a fraction, and it becomes 2 to 1. Next. 2a plus 70 over 6a equals 12. Okay, what value will make the... Wait, what? Oh, they're just saying solve for a. That's trying to confuse you. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I don't like having this in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 6a, because that's going to get rid of this weird fraction. Those cancel out. Now I have 2a plus 70 equals 6a times 12, which is 72a. Now let's get the variables together, so I'm going to subtract 2a from both sides, and I get 70 equals 70a. Divide both sides by 70, but you already know a equals 70 over 70 is 1. And then if you want to make sure, remember, at the end, plug this in back into for a, replace 1 with a, and it's like 2 plus 70 is 72, divided by 6 times 1, which is 6. 72 divided by 6 is indeed 12. You know you got the right answer. Okay, next, 28 is, oh no, wait, what happened? Hold on. It's glitching. Oh, shoot. What's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? This is not good. Hold on. Shoot. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. All right. Box and whisker plots shown below. Average time in minutes. What is the median? All right. Skip all that. Box and whisker plots. You just got to be able to read them to solve this. The median is this little line right here. And if you know that, how to read a box and whisker plot, super easy, right? It's 10. Don't even have to think about it. They do test on box and whisker on this test. Kevin deposited $200 in a savings account that earns 4% interest per year. How much will he earn after 1 year? This is a percentage question. We just have to calculate 4% of 200. To do that, to turn this into or calculate a percentage, we move the decimal over twice to turn it into its decimal equivalent, which is 0.04. Then just simply multiply it. 4% of, you hear the word of, 1/4 of, just think multiplication. Multiply 0.008, and then this all becomes zeros, of course, which doesn't really matter. We get 800, and then we have two numbers to the right of the decimal, so we move the decimal once, twice, and it's $8. Boom, next, 30. Coordinates grid shows this. What are the coordinates of the fourth vertex of the parallelogram? Okay, here's my assumption. Parallelogram, all the sides are parallel, opposite sides are equal. So look, the way that I think about it is it's probably going to be here, right? Because I can see that I'll have a nice like little parallelogram. And how do I get there? Well, it's like this line's going to be parallel and the same length as this one. So an easy way to do this is like, all right, well, to go from here to here, I go 2 to the left and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I go 2 to the left and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is that coordinate? That coordinate looks like 0, 5 to me, right? So 0, 5 is what we're looking for, and I see it right there, and we're done. It's a little bit of graphing, coordinates, and spatial reasoning all rolled into one, I think, for that question. Next, last month it rained 70% of the days. On those days that it rained, I'm just going to set up a bar model here. 70% it rained. Oops. And then of that, on those days of the rain, sun came out 2/5 of those. So then if we split this up into fifths, that section here, sun comes out, okay? What fraction of the month did the sun come out? Okay, but really this is a fraction of a percentage. So what are we doing? We're doing 2/5 of, again, which means multiply. 70%, I could turn that into a decimal or I could turn it into a fraction. Remember, percent, which means out of 100. So we can set this up as a nice fraction, 70 over 100 or 7/10, and then we can multiply across. Boom, boom, that's 14 over 50. Oh, so we could have simplified. Divide the top and bottom by 2, 7 out of 25. Done. Okay, 32. Which expression is equivalent to 32? Oh, it's actually problem 32. That's funny. Okay, let's do a step by step. Oh, man, these are kind of complicated. So I'm going to do these mentally. I'm not going to write it down. It'll take too much time. So we're going in the inside parentheses first. 1 plus 2 is 3. And this is 4 times, okay, then we do 3 plus 4 times 3 is 12. So 3 plus 12 is 15. Plus 12 again is 25, 27. Plus 2 is 29. 2 times 58, too big. That's out. Okay, this is 6 plus, actually, I will write it out. 6 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 4 times 6 is 24. This looks too big as well. 14, 16, 40. That's out. 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 5 is 9. Plus 3, 6 times 2 is 12. This is too small. This is 12 plus 12 is 24. It's 26. Oops, so it's got to be this one, but let's double check just in case. This is 2 plus times 3, which is 6. Plus 1 plus 2 is 3 times 4 is 12. Plus that's 12. This looks good. Plus 2. Okay, so there's 6 plus 12 is 18. Plus 12 is 30. Plus 2 is 32. Next. The spinner below is divided into 8 equal sections. If the spinner is spun one time, what is the probability of a spinner spinning a prime number? Got to know your prime. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Most people will forget that 2 is a prime, but it is a prime. 3 is a prime. 5 is a prime. 7 is a prime. Definition of 1 is not a prime, okay? So the definition of a prime number is any number that can only be divided evenly with no remainder or anything. It can be divided evenly in terms of integers by itself and 1, and these ones fit the bill. So half of these numbers are prime. So what's my probability? It's 4 out of the total, which is 8, or reduce it to 1/2. 17 minutes left. Lamar is 4 times, okay, immediately I'm setting up equations. Lamar is equal. Lamar is 4 times as old as his brother Malcolm. So whatever, if Malcolm is 2, Lamar is 8. Malcolm is 10, Lamar is 40. In 2 years, so Lamar plus 2 in 2 years, he will be 3 times as old as Malcolm is then. Well, it's not just 3M, okay? It's 3 times as old as Malcolm is then, which means Malcolm will also be 2 years older, right? If Lamar is 2 years older, so is Malcolm. How old will Lamar be in 2 years? We want to know this value. Okay, this is a system of equations. Now, since I'm solving for Lamar, actually the easiest thing for me to do actually here is I'm going to solve for Malcolm and then I'll come back and solve for Lamar. We're going to do something called substitution. If I know that L equals 4M and I can just say like, okay, well, I don't need this L here. I can replace that with 4M, okay, because these guys are equal and that's fine. So now I've got a whole nice equation. The purpose of this is we have one variable we can solve. One variable, one equation we can solve. So now I have 4M plus 2 equals, let's distribute, 3M plus 6. Subtract 3M from both sides. Whoops. And I got M plus 2 equals, these are gone, 6 minus 2 minus 2. M equals 4. If M equals 4, plug that in here. And 4 times 4 gives me Lamar, and so Lamar is 16. But that's Lamar back then. How old will Lamar be in 2 years? 16 plus 2. Incredibly hard problem. And they give you the 16 in case you didn't pay enough attention. So that's pretty tricky. It's 18 and 6. Yeah, okay. There we go. Very, very tricky question. 15 minutes remaining and 12 questions left. And actually, we're not doing great time-wise. Okay, so. Hamad has a number cube, 6 sides, numbers 1 through 6, and 2-sided coins, blah, blah, blah. Using an outcome table, we want to find the probability of rolling an odd and flipping, find the probability of rolling an odd number with this cube and flipping the coin twice so it lands on tails both times. All we look at is anything where what's highlighted is tails, tails, and an odd number. Right here, these are even numbers highlighted. That's no good. Tails, 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 tails. This all looks good, except they've got evens in the mix. 3, 4, 2, 6. Chart 2 is out. This looks good. Tails, 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 tails. 5, 3, 1. I'm liking C. Let's just look at D. Okay, again, heads, heads. No. All odds, that's good, but we got heads in the mix. We don't want that. So just read this very carefully. You don't have to go crazy about like, what is this? What's the actual probability? Don't even have to calculate it. Just nice and simple. Okay, next, 36. Shows the equation of y equals, what would be the slope of a line parallel? Okay, this is in slope-intercept form, which slope-intercept form is like this, where this is my y-intercept, and this is my slope. So since they give us the equation, my slope is whatever number is multiplying x, which is 2. Therefore, a line parallel is going to have the same slope. It's also going to have a slope of 2. Okay, 11 questions left. Using equation 7 plus b equals, a minus 2. What is the value of b minus a? This is a hard variable isolation problem. But if you just remember, all I'm going to do is I can't solve for b and a. So get that out of your mind. One equation, 2 variables. You cannot solve for the 2 variables. What we can do is maybe isolate b and a, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to first get rid of this 7. So now I have b equals a, -2 and a -7 combined is -9 or -9. Let's get the a on this side. So I'm going to subtract a from both sides. And now I have b minus a. I can't combine these because they're not the same variable. Equals -9. But guess what? We're done. That's all they wanted. B minus a. What does that equal? Equals -9. Okay, if the, you know what? See, this one, I wish I could copy and paste because I need to draw on this. Hold on, let me think. Okay, here's what I'm going to do because it really helps if I illustrate this. I'm going to open up a different whiteboard that's not glitching. Hold on. Let's do this. All right. So what we're going to do, if it's divided up into equal parts, how much of the figure would be shaded? And they kind of mess up this drawing, to be honest, because it's not really exactly even, but if I draw these lines, it'll give us an idea of what they wanted, I think. You see, it's a bad drawing on their part, and there's nothing you can really do about it because you might be like, wait a minute, I think that they want this cut up and this cut up. I don't think actually, because look, then it's small. It's just really, it's just not well done. Instead, what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at this is divided in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've divided it up into like these 7 slots, and there's 2 rows, so it's really divided up into 14 pieces. And I've shaded 1, 2. So I've shaded in 2 out of 14, and that's how much is shaded. But reduce that fraction, divide top and bottom by 2, and it's 1/7. If you have it on the real test, I don't think that it won't be done like that. It'll be very clear and nice and proportionate. So what is the slope of this line? All right, remember I told you slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We need to get this into that format. It's not because the y is not isolated. So we need to isolate the y as follows. First, I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And I have negative 2y equals negative 6x plus 9. Why didn't I put that there? Because I want this in slope-intercept form where the x is first. Then we're going to divide everything by negative 2, including that. Boom. Y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I don't care what this is. It's negative 4.5, whatever. Here's my slope. It's the number multiplying the x after it's in slope-intercept form, so it's 3. These problems are super difficult, can be super difficult, and sometimes I tell, if this is totally baffling you, I wouldn't go crazy on trying to figure this out, but I'm going to show you how to do it. Hold on, how much time do we have left? 10 minutes. Okay, we're doing good. So it's z over x minus y over z. Hold on, let's look at the sometimes you have to look at these options too. So what I'm seeing is this one is like, does it reduce to -1? Well, we'll see. Or I have a single denominator of y, which I just don't think is going to be possible. What I'm looking at is we want a denominator of yz is my assumption. So let's distribute, excuse me. Then I get xz over xy. I'm just going to do it like that. Minus x, see, numerators multiply numerators, denominators multiply denominators, yz. I see that these x's cancel out, xx. These y's cancel out, boom, boom. Now I've got z over y minus x over z. Then, because I already eyeballed these 2 answer choices, like these are probably not going to happen where you have a common denominator. So this is pretty much gone. This is definitely gone because this is not -1. No way. So I'm going to try and get a common denominator by getting a denominator of yz. So I'm going to multiply this by z and this by z and this by y and this by y. Now we have common denominators. Z times z is z squared over yz minus xy over yz. And common denominators, we can merge these guys, right? So then it just becomes z squared minus xy over yz. These are not like terms, so they cannot combine. And there's your final answer, and it's this guy. Okay, next. A die is rolled and can land on any whole number from 1 to 6. Which answer choice describes mutually exclusive events, meaning 2 events that cannot happen together, essentially. They occupy the 2 completely, so I'll show you what I mean by illustration here. Let me show you, mutually exclusive. So the die lands on 4 and an odd number. So can you land on 4 and an odd number? Is that even possible for those 2 different things to coexist? It's not, because 4 is even. Actually, so there's our right answer right there. Those are mutual. It says which ones do describe, right? Yeah. Next one, die lands on an even number and a number less than 3. That can happen. Those can coexist because you can land on 2. That's even and less than 3. Lands on an odd and a number greater than or equal to 5. Yes, greater than or equal to 5. So 5 it lands on and it's odd, done. Lands on a 2 and an even number, of course. Okay, next. In the figure below, a square is inscribed in a circle. If the radius of the circle is, I'm going to need to draw this. The radius of the circle, oops. Is 3 square root 2. What is the area, okay, of the shaded region? Okay, so, whoa, what's happening? Why did it shrink like that? If I'm gonna draw a radius, and my immediate instinct is to draw it diagonally, and I'm gonna show you why in a second. So the radius of the circle, which is half of this, is 3 square root 2. So this entire thing is 6 square root 2. It's double that. which is going to be important in a second. All right. Oh, actually, it doesn't even matter. No, we don't need that. Forget that. We only need, I didn't see it gave us that side. So this is 3 square root 2. That's nice. So how do we calculate this area? We need to calculate the area of the circle and subtract the area of the square. That's it, right? We're cutting a square out of a circle. Area of the circle is pi times radius squared minus the area of the square, which is 6 by 6. So 6 times 6, which is 36. Okay, this squared is, we square the 3, which is 9. Square root of 2 squared is 2. So 9 times 2 is 18 pi minus 36, and that's it. So we already know 36 has to be there, so it's like you could easily eliminate C and A, and then it's between these two. They give you the formula, which is really nice, so take advantage of that formula. As I mentioned, formulas are really good. The graph below shows line K. What is the equation of a line perpendicular to line K? Okay. So perpendicular, this is something that you want to make sure you remember. Perpendicular means the slope is the negative reciprocal. So first we need to figure out what the slope is of this line. So I see it's going from 6 up to, I'm trying to identify a good point here. This one looks good. So it looks like it has a slope of, it goes up 2 to the right by 6, up 2 to the right by 6. So it's 2 over 6 or 1/3. So the slope perpendicular is the negative reciprocal of this. Reciprocal, we flip it, negative means -3. So we already know it's got a slope of -3. So I don't like this and this. It's one of these two. Now, which one is going to contain the line 6, 8? All right, so there's a couple ways we can do this. If I have a slope of -3, I can say y equals -3x plus b. I don't know my y-intercept, so I'm going to plug in my 6 and 8. 6 for x, 8 for y, because that's the coordinate it's supposed to be on this line. So y equals -3 times 6 plus b. This is -18 equals 8. I need to solve for b, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides. B equals 26. So we come back to this, and there's our equation. Done. 44. Greg's new house has a yard the size is 1.5 times. His new house has a yard that is 1.5 or 1.5 times as large as the size of his old house. Let's call it X. By what % did his yard increase? So, okay, this is a great question. Increase. So if it's 1.5 times the size, right? Means if his old house was 100, his new house is 150. That's 1.5 times that. 1.5 times 100. So what does that increase? Well, it's gone up by plus 50. So 50, it's gone up by 50, and what percentage of that is 100? That's 50%. Does that make sense? So you want to think about it that way. You want to look at how much did it go up by, and then what percentage of that is, what is that as a percentage of the original, and that's how you do that one. 3 questions left. Which of the following is true? Okay, so they're saying A equals B. So this is isosceles. And if we know that A equals B, the opposite angles have to be equal, which is A and B, which is angle C equals angle B. So boom, opposite, angle C equals angle B. That's the only thing we know, I think. And that's it. B equals C. That's done. Solve for X, or no, sorry, can't solve for X, 2 variables. Which of the following is equivalent? 3 minutes left. So let's see. Let's see how we can eliminate some of these. It's this one. It's this one because if I multiply this entire equation by 2, I know this is equivalent because, okay, watch. So if I multiply this entire equation by 2, I get 2y plus 14. Just multiply the numerator. We don't multiply the denominator. Equals 2x. Then if I subtract 2x from both sides, I get 2y plus 14 over 4 minus 2x equals 0. And I know it's equivalent. We could similarly like eliminate these ones. Okay, I'm going to leave this for now, and I'm going to come back to it with extra time and give you more of an explanation. We'll come back to that. Let's make sure we get this done. Okay, diagram below shows a regular hexagon divided into 6 equal parts. How many lines of symmetry does it have? Now, I'm going to draw this out. Lines of symmetry. This is very important. The fact that they shaded it changes this thing, okay? Because Otherwise, it would have more lines of symmetry. This like is not a line of symmetry because of the shading. Because of the shading, it's like this should be the same as this, and they're not. Okay, so that's not a line of symmetry. A line of symmetry would be like right down here, right? Because it's cutting it exactly in half, and the opposite sides are all equivalent, right? You see how this is the same as this, and this is the same as this, so on and so forth. So that's what a good line of symmetry should look like. We've also got a line of symmetry down here. We don't have one here. We don't have one here. Do we have another one? This wouldn't work because, yes, these are good, but these don't match. Actually, I think it's just 2. Hold on. Am I missing anything? 1, 2, 3. Hold on, time. Yeah, I think it's just 2. 1, 2, 3. Because it'd be the same thing here. These guys, but these guys wouldn't match. Yeah, I think it's just 2. Okay, let's quickly go back to question 46 before time expires. So this is a really hard problem because it's that whole equivalent idea. The other thing I can do is I can multiply both sides by 4 and get rid of that denominator. Y plus 7 equals 4x. Then we can start to eliminate some of these guys. Like, there's no way this works because if I multiplied everything by 4 to get a 4y, I get 4y plus 28 equals 16x. That's not this at all. 13 seconds. Y equals 7 minus 4x. If I isolated y, I'd get 4x minus 7. So that's gone. And then this one is almost right, but whatever. They multiplied the denominator by 2 also, and you should have a 2x. Oh, wait. Uh-oh, that one threw me for a loop. I wonder if that one's actually it. Hold on. We're going to see. Let's go to my dashboard and let's view the results. Did I miss that? Oh, good. I got it right. I was like, wait a minute. Was that also equivalent? Let's go back to that because I want to quickly see why that was wrong. Okay, so this one, I was like almost like maybe this is right because of the minus. I didn't see. So the minus is wrong. Otherwise, this could be right if it was plus because they just multiplied the top and bottom by 2, which doesn't change anything. All right. All right, that is it for today's live stream. So we tackled again that math achievement section, and hopefully that was helpful. If you are prepping for the ISEE. Again, I just want to end by saying that this is a very, very difficult test for 6th and 7th graders that take it. And you really want to do your homework, do as much practice as you can. Watch these videos to make sure you can get the best understanding of how to tackle these problems in real time. Thank you guys so much. If you want to see the description link below, you can also check out my ISEE score. It's my ISEE video course. It's got 700 unique math practice problems. It's all targeted towards the middle level ISEE math, and it will help you achieve what you want to achieve. We're willing to work for it. There you guys go. For the questions, I'm getting my SAT score tomorrow, I believe, and I'll be doing a live stream either tomorrow or Saturday. It depends when I get it, because last time I scheduled it for Friday, but I didn't get it Friday. So I just want to make sure I actually get it before I check. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you all next time. Take it easy.